and welcome to Critters Report in the post-truth apocalypse. I'm Ben, and this week I'm again with Gaz.
Hello.
And Mike.
Hello.
Today we're going to have a chat about the Soviet doomsday machine.
Ooh.
Just to really bring the tone up, light and fluffy episode.
That's what we want.
What's the Soviet doomsday machine then, Ben?
It's just sum it up, basically, should America launch a massive first strike at the Russians and they can't get one off in return...
What off?
Jack and me off.
Yeah.
If the Russians can't get one back in return, it will automatically launch their full nuclear payload back at America without any need for command and control to authorise it.
Right. So, it's being operated solely on, like, computer...
Soviet Union era computer technology.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Although they've probably updated it.
So it's like an Atari ST.
But this, when they brought this out in the 80s, this was their big thing. It's like, if you try to... Remember, when Reagan came in, he took a very hard anti-Soviet stance.
Right.
Whereas Jimmy Carter was like, hey man, whatever, it's all good.
Okay.
We're going to build homes for the homeless. Right. Reagan came and said, now fuck that, we're not pissing around with communism.
Right.
We're going to get hard lines. We're going to have the Star Wars initiative. Have you ever heard of that?
I have. Cool name.
They're going to put lasers in space to protect America. It wasn't feasible. It was a massive bluff, basically. It cost them loads of money.
Yeah.
It wasn't feasible, but it pushed the Soviet Union towards bankruptcy.
Good.
Because they're like, we can't keep up with that. People are waiting 10 years for a car and they're queuing for bread. We can't keep up with putting space lasers in space.
Yeah.
This was the response, basically. It's deterrence.
I was meant to send it to you boys. An interesting interview. Iron Maiden were the first band to go behind the Iron Curtain on tour. Yeah, so they were the first band to go behind the Iron Curtain, and it's a really interesting article. It was a weird time, because it's hard to imagine now, isn't it, with the internet and knowing everything, but no information went out. Heavy metal cassettes and stuff were like black market contraband.
Wow.
You go to like jail for having like Metallica and...
Of course, it's Western propaganda.
Yeah.
Mad times.
But I bet they fucking sold out, didn't they?
Crazy times. Oh yeah, people were just like, it was like religious to them. You know what I mean? They hadn't seen anything.
No.
And it wasn't just any old band. They took the full stage show and everything. So yeah, crazy place. So I'm saying I'm not trusting there. I read this article and what a sad state. You know, the people queuing for bread and how fucked everything was. I'm not trusting their technology to not just unleash. I guarantee. I wish I was joking when I said it's probably. You've seen the pictures of Putin within the last year sitting in front of a fucking fax machine with a fucking with a curly wire on the receiver, like what we grew up with. I bet there's a Commodore 64.
At least if the AI...
Literally with big floppy disks in control of all this shit.
At least if the AI takes over, we won't be able to understand it and take control of it, will it? We'll be like, what is this?
Actually, nuclear weapons are deliberately kept analog, so they can't be hacked.
In Russia?
Yeah, it will be the same. Every country does it. They're analog. They're not digitally.
Analog things need to be maintained and
that's the issue.
Looked after and kept in good working order. They don't have a good history of that, do they?
No, they don't.
Look at the power plant. What's it called? Chernobyl drop off. That's it.
Check out our Chernobyl episode. Episodes.
Oh, I've shit myself already. I don't want to know.
Well, apparently it's still functional.
Now, you said it could take out America. Is it just America or is it the world? Is it like a scorched earth?
Yeah, it's going to be launched at wherever their missiles are programmed to be launched at. So London, Paris, Berlin, all the military targets. America they send there's 1,000 missiles ready to go at America.
It's enough to destroy the planet now.
It's called the mother load.
Put it into nuclear
in
winter.
theory, if you'd done your research as the American oppressors, could we not fire our nuke at wherever we're firing at and also fire directly at wherever this machine is?
It's spread throughout Russia.
Well, let's target all of them.
We'll get into how it works, because it would be impossible to find where they all were.
They're hidden.
Yeah, it's basically a bunch of like sensors around the country.
Jesus Christ.
We'll get into it.
I bet they don't even know where they all are.
Probably not.
Yeah.
let's thank some new returning listeners, and then we'll get into it. Frankfurt am Main in Germany, Whitstable in the UK, Ashburn, Santa Clara in the US, Erzhausen in Germany, Arunhez in Spain, Brussels in Belgium, Fort Worth in the US, Guadalajara, Spain, and Dublin, Ireland.
I can't speak. Popular in Dublin and Ireland in general this month, gentlemen. It's because they're revolutionary and they're kicking off over there.
Are they?
Again. Yeah, same things are kicking off about over here.
Yeah,
Funny that, isn't it? Seems like the elite of this world plunging the fucking whole world into chaos.
No, they'd never do that.
What would they do that for? They care about us as individuals, don't they? My individual happiness is important to the government, isn't it,
Yeah,
Mike?
I'm not just a consumer.
Not just a piece of meat.
Of course not.
To be worked from day to dawn till dusk for profit. Or giving me barely enough to buy all the shit I want.
Well, we're still
So it
number one.
works.
Our number
Keep
one
coming back for
listenership.
more.
Yeah, still the good old US of A. Thank you, America.
I'm
God
throwing
bless
you a
you.
salute.
God bless you all.
Yeah, right, let's get on to this Soviet death machine.
Hey.
The technical name was Perimeter, but some call it Merkvaya Ruka, the dead hand. So yeah, basically a guy called Valery Yanovich is a 72-year-old former Soviet colonel now. And he basically says it's very, very nice. We remove unique responsibility from high politicians and the military.
Very, very nice.
Very,
It's
very
very,
nice.
very nice.
It's very nice.
This guy's fucking Borat. What is
Yeah.
he doing this shit?
Yaximash.
It is an actual doomsday device, a real functioning version of the ultimate weapon, always presumed to only exist as a fantasy of apocalypse-based science fiction writers and paranoid Uberhawks.
What a terrifying line that he just said, though.
Yeah.
We remove unique responsibility from high politicians and the military. We remove the responsibility from humans, essentially.
Yes, the historian Lewis Mumford called
That's fine.
Well, it's automated, isn't it? So if they attack, senses it, and then just launches automatically.
What if a really big pigeon?
Yeah.
Well, terrifyingly, what the Russians are using in space now to detect nuclear weapon rocket launches, ICBM launches, is a lot worse than what the Americans have got, and even the Russians say it's very likely they're going to mistake something at some point and launch in retaliation.
Almost did.
They always have several times.
Check out our episode, Nuclear Close Calls, I believe it was.
So one of Musk's SpaceX launches could, in theory, mistaken for a nuclear.
When the people do rocket
It
launches,
fell on a
they tend
Russian
to
city, maybe.
they tend to tell people they're doing them to avoid this kind of scenario. So, like, Musk's launching that thing, it'll be well publicised. An email will go out to the relevant government authorities around that area, so the Russians, the Chinese. We're launching this missile on this day, this time. Don't worry about it. It's a test. And they'll go, yep, okay, whatever. Won't worry about that then.
But a machine could still fuck it up.
But if your issue you've got is North Korea, who never tell anyone what they're doing,
Yeah.
and that's why there's issues.
But they've got shit rockets, though, haven't they, that don't work.
No, they could probably hit America now if they
Didn't
wanted
they have
to.
a shit one?
Rocket Man.
Didn't we do a story on them where if their test didn't work or something, it flopped into the sea?
Yeah,
Yeah.
They've had a lot of goes, but now apparently Western intelligence seems to think it could hit Washington if it wanted to on a good day. With a fake.
Was that just fear mongering?
Well, that's the other thing.
Yeah, I remember the old headline, Saddam could attack us in 24 hours.
20 minutes.
With what? 20 minutes, was it?
Yeah.
With what? Oh.
These Scud missiles.
They didn't have the range.
Oh, fuck, mate. Did you see the Taliban doing a fucking full military parade using nothing but American equipment that was left behind?
Yeah, I saw that. Even flying the helicopters.
Yeah, enough to do a full parade, mate. Imagine like a Korea style, like, army parade with all this American equipment.
What was that about?
Money, money, money. That's all about. That's what it's always about.
Well, yeah, they've got to replace all that stuff, haven't they?
Yep.
Jesus. So, sorry, back to the dead hand doomsday device.
Yeah, well, Historian Lewis Mumford called this the central symbol of this scientifically organised nightmare of mass extermination.
Fuck me, mate. Have a fucking pack of Skittles or something.
Have a Snickers.
Fucking hell, you're not yourself.
So the point of the system was to guarantee an automatic Soviet response to an American nuclear strike. Even if the US crippled the USSR with a surprise attack, the Soviets could still hit back. It wouldn't matter if the Americans blew up the Kremlin, took out the defence ministry, severed all the communications network and killed everyone with a star on their shoulder. Ground-based sensors would detect that a devastating blow had been struck and a counter-attack would be launched.
Jesus. Well, that is Skynet, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah.
Just the shitty old 80s Russian version. No, when would this have been built? 70s, 80s?
85.
Was built in the 80s, yeah.
It's definitely being run by a Commodore 64. I just can't get that image out of my head.
Yeah.
You think they're playing fucking Wagon Train on
A
it?
fucking Paperboy.
Paperboy.
I'm going further back. I think it's one of them like Dungeons and Dragons style fucking ones.
The text.
What were them computers we had to use at school? The BBCs.
BBC,
Remember
yeah.
them? It's one of them. It's definitely a black screen with green fucking text on it. It's not high tech.
No.
You know it's not.
Just about runs New Zealand story.
I'm just hoping that it's at least Windows 95. I hope it's a PC at least.
It's not, no. It was built in 85.
It must have upgraded it
No,
since.
I bet they haven't. I guarantee they haven't. Mate, remember what we said earlier? Putin was proud to be sat in front of a fax machine.
Yeah.
Nobody thought, oh, maybe we should move the ancient technology. Maybe it makes us look cheap, no? Like, what do you mean? This is perfect. I have had this fax machine since 87.
He killed a man with that fax machine. That's why he's got
Probably.
it. It's a trophy.
Yeah.
It's not functioning.
Probably used the receiver here to nail somebody's skull in. But no, I don't think they've upgraded any of this. I don't think it's maintained. I bet they've forgotten where half of them are.
He's lost the map.
It's terrifying. So it's just a web of these missiles that are not in like areas you'd think.
Yeah, the ground-based stuff they've got, all the stuff that's in big silos.
Yeah.
There's about 1,000 of them, and the Americans have got roughly the same. It's called the mother load when you send 1,000 missiles.
Of course it is.
But then remember that you've got all the... America has a triad, so it's got the bombers, it's got the missiles, it's got the submarines.
Do you know what'd be really shit? Is if America fires all of its stuff from its east coast and Russia fires that way. So you've got 1,000 missiles coming from Russia, 1,000 from America, and they hit each other round about over where we are. You know what I mean? Like 2,000 missiles explode in nuclear hellfire above us,
Yeah.
and just rains down on us and France and... Yeah, thanks. At least a few are going to hit each other, aren't they?
Possibly. They go into space, don't they?
Oh, they go into space and come
Yeah,
back
they go
down.
into space. They navigate by the stars.
Oh, okay.
How crazy is that?
Yeah.
Well, maybe something will go wrong and a few of them will blow up in the atmosphere and... you
Oh,
know,
some will malfunction,
Yeah.
yeah.
These are
But
old
then you've lost
Russian-
the atmosphere.
Out of 1,000, I don't know.
What would be hilarious
Even if 100 fuck up, that's still
Right.
900, isn't it?
Well, let's say if 900 or so out of the 1,000 explode in the silos, that would be quite funny.
It would.
Oh, we should have done some general maintenance.
But remember, you think 1,000's a lot on each. So America's got about 1,700. The Russians have got about the same. In the 80s, mate, there was 30,000 on
Yeah.
each side.
What do we do with them?
Oh, they got scrapped and
Yeah.
dismantled. And
We signed treaties, didn't we? Non-nuclear proliferation.
That
treaty.
rings a bell, yes. Well,
Trump took us out of it. That was a bad thing that Trump did. I just point it out.
they've actually asked for 900 billion to update the nuclear
because he's thinking about American
nuclear
jobs.
program. $900 billion to upgrade the nuclear defence systems and the missiles.
Why did he
and
ship
everything.
200,000 manufacturing jobs out of America then if he was thinking of jobs? That's not getting to Trump.
Because you'll never convince me he's anything other than a hero.
Not since that fucking convention, no. There's nothing I can say.
If Hulk Hogan had come out for Joe Biden, that would have either been all Joe Biden.
Nah. I honestly, I'd have been, oh, Hulk, still love you. Just like when you know, called that man what you shouldn't have called him. I still stood by him. But it was the combination of, he can't be a Democrat, fucking come on. Anyway.
What if he was?
He's 60 odd years old, he's wealthy, he lives in Florida.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He's white, like, no, he's not ever feasible for him to ever be a Democrat.
No.
I'm pretty sure he likes guns. You know,
Probably.
Guns, freedom,
America.
drops. Yeah. Anyway, well, that is relative because this is all designed to destroy America, isn't it? And we love America.
That's true.
Well, I do.
The Russians still won't discuss this, by the way. And the Americans at the highest levels, including former top officials at the State Department and White House, say they've never heard of it.
They're just saying that to calm us down now because it's pretty terrifying, isn't it?
Basically, one Soviet official who spoke with the Americans at the system died in a mysterious fall down a staircase.
So weird, isn't it, how people connected to important things died, don't they?
Well, it came online in 1985 through some of the most dangerous years of the Cold War. The 80s were actually quite bad when we were growing up as kids. It was like a bit more on a knife edge.
We didn't care because we had He-Man and
That's it.
Thundercats.
Well, in 1985, our main concerns were not shitting ourselves and biscuits.
Yeah.
You know.
I heard an interesting factoid about our childhood cartoons in the 80s. There used to be a law in the 70s and that you couldn't advertise, you couldn't use your program as an advertisement.
I think it was Reagan that sort of...
And Reagan just lifted it, so everyone went, fuck it, we'll create a toy line first, then a cartoon. And look what it did.
Yeah.
And look how much our parents spent in our whole life.
Yeah.
We're just brainwashed with... We had duvets and curtains and wallpaper
lunchboxes
and everything. We loved it. It worked a charm. They just turned us into little consuming, mindless... But we got a good end of the sticks. It wasn't our money.
No. Yeah.
And we got all that cool shit.
Yeah.
You know, my He-Man bedsheet I used to have, it was ace. He was riding...
I remember that.
Riding the Battle Cat.
Yeah.
You can buy a double fucking king-size bed version of that, and I'm very tempted.
Oh, awesome. I had an amazing Transformers one that was Autobots one side, and if you flipped it, it was the Decepticons.
I think I had that.
Yeah. It was quite an early one. See? Reagan. The 80s. It was. See, my point is, it wasn't all bad. We were just mindless little consumer bots.
No, it wasn't that bad. It's what he set in motion that to today now we're living with the consequences.
They haven't blown us up yet, have they? And
Well,
this
I meant
might
economically.
and it might not even be true. Russia might not have this thing.
It's true. So, yeah, through the 70s, the USSR had steadily narrowed the long US lead in nuclear firepower. And at the same time, post-Vietnam, recession-era America seemed weak and confused. And then in strode Ronald Reagan, like the cowboy he is.
Yeehaw.
And it's amazing, isn't it? Because in the end he did become weak and confused, didn't he?
Yeah, because he had Alzheimer's. Mike.
That is slightly harsh.
Yeah, I'm just saying. You know. That's what it turned into, wasn't it?
Even with Alzheimer's, he'd have still beat Joe Biden in a battle of wits.
Fucking dead dog could be fucking Joe Biden. Game of wits.
What did you say?
In strode Ronald Reagan. I presume the sun was behind him, radiating out. And he promised the days of retreat were over. It was morning in America, he said, and twilight in the Soviet Union.
He's right about that.
Them's fighting words.
And part of the new president's hardline approach was to make the Soviets believe that the US was unafraid of nuclear war. Many of his advisors had long advocated modelling and actively planning for nuclear combat. That's sad but true.
Jesus.
They actually had, in the 50s, when they first gathered a few hundred of these things together, they were like, okay, where are we going to bomb them. What's our plan? Because the Air Force has got some, the Army's got some, the Navy's got some.
Yeah.
We can't always do our own thing. We need a unified plan.
Yeah. Well, we got him. We got to use him.
Well, they really wanted to use them.
Yeah.
And the plan if Russia retaliates, hide under your desk.
Yeah, duck and cover. Duck and cover.
You'll be fine. So all I got to do is just go under the desk and I'm, yeah, be fine. Your
Never
skin
mind.
won't melt
Might want to
off.
put the gas mask on just in case.
Never mind that 5 mile wide fireball that's hotter than the sun.
You'll be fine. Your skin it might stay on.
It won't.
What's that word, Benny?
Sloughing, that's it.
Oh, shit.
There's a lot of sloughing happens.
Oh God, don't.
Remember,
This is why I haven't been
can I
able
just
to watch.
also say, like, before you look, I'm going to horrify you more. The winds recorded at the base in a nuclear explosion are several hundred miles fast.
Right.
That will rip your skin off.
Yeah.
The fastest wind ever recorded naturally was 293 miles in the outback in Australia. Hurricanes at 80 miles. Several hundred miles an hour winds. Your skin's coming off.
But won't it also?
Speed
Like-
of sound or something.
Won't it also
Yes.
just blow your entire body? Like just send you like
Yeah, that-
15 miles like through the air. So your skin's ripped off. You're just a skeleton with like a bit of flesh loosely clinging to it, but you're still conscious. And you've been flung 25 miles through the air at 230 miles an hour.
Maybe not 25 miles.
You've gone a long way. Skin's hanging off. You're hundreds of feet in the air. You've got plenty of time to
Yeah.
contemplate this. And then you splat on the ground.
And then you get sucked back up.
That's if you're not
Because you have
atomised.
Well, if you're not, no, you're carbonised at about 5 miles out. Then what remains of you is going to get sucked back up because it goes out and then it comes back in, and that's how you get the mushroom cloud. So you're going to be part of that stem of the pretty mushroom cloud.
So then I'll be thousands of feet in the air.
Yeah, mixing with all the other radioactive particles, bits on you, and then
Well, that's
come
quite
back as
romantic,
fallout.
isn't it? We're all stardust. I'll return back to the earth as part of the chemical fire.
And poison the land. So, the Americans believe that the side with the largest arsenal of nuclear weapons
What are you going to do, eh?
and an expressed readiness to use it would gain leverage during every crisis. So we got more nukes than you, we'll use them.
Yeah.
You want to back down, you do. Exactly what Trump did to North Korea.
It seems to work though, doesn't it?
Yes,
Until it doesn't.
but the whole point of this is deterrence.
Yeah.
You don't advertise the fact you've got stuff. They just you make it known, but you keep you don't go around going, oh well, fuck us around, we'll nuke you, because that brings everyone else a bit closer. Well, you're not going to nuke me, because I'll nuke you back.
Yeah.
The whole point is you don't throw it out there that you're quite happy to use these things.
I probably was really easy to believe 80s American President Reagan. Imagine what's the Soviet perception of the average American around that point. Trigger happy, stupid, cheeseburger chomping, Mickey Mouse loving, fucking lunatics.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed, does it?
Why would they be any different
We
with
love
their
you,
nukes?
America.
Yeah. Only joking.
Well, no, a lot's changed now. Mate.
Yeah,
Just
I know.
50% of them are purple head, squelching, fucking jihad loving, fucking
And they're a lot
weirdos.
fatter.
Democrats, apparently.
Well, so you can either launch first or convince the enemy that you can strike back even if you're dead. The new administration began expanding the US nuclear arsenal and priming the silos, and it backed up the bombs with bluster. In 1981, the Senate confirmation hearings, Eugene Rostow, incoming head of the Arms Control and Disarmament Agency, signalled the US might just be crazy enough to use its weapons, declaring that Japan not only survived but flourished after the nuclear attack in 1945.
Very
We'll help you with our nukes.
Very different nukes, though, weren't they?
Yeah, it's thermonuclear.
It was 1 and not 1,000 for starters, yeah.
Speaking of a possible US-Soviet exchange, he said, some estimates predict there will be 10 million casualties on one side and on the other 100 million. But that's not the whole of the population.
That's That's why these psychos think.
Always look on the right side of life. They've got to be, you're right, mate. They've got to be psycho to think, to talk in them terms like it's nothing. 100 million will
It's only
die,
a
but
third of the population.
it's not the whole population. It's not all bad.
In the book I read, in 72 minutes, 2 billion people are dead.
What book's that?
Oh no, sorry, that will be after like 5 years. In 72 minutes, like 600 million people are dead.
What's that?
It's called Nuclear War: A Scenario by Annie Jacobs. It's fascinating, actually, the minute by minute processes and terrifying. It's the scariest book you'll read.
I read the cliff notes of that book. It says everyone's fucked. Fucked beyond your wildest dreams.
Once you've seen Threads, that's it. You don't need to know anything else.
I do. I think we should do a Threads revisited.
No,
Let's go back and remember the good times.
literally the most depressing thing.
It was 3.5 hours of.
It wasn't 3.5 hours.
Our podcast was.
Oh yeah.
What is it they say? Is that what they say?
Gizzer.
Gizzer.
Because everyone's forgot. All the kids don't learn. That's the really sad thing. Everyone's just sat there so fucking traumatised. Like, well, she got the pub. So they're just dying slowly from skin cancer. And that's the other thing, because the atmosphere goes. If you do survive, you'd have to be covered head to toe. You get skin cancer
The only way
and cataracts.
The only way I want to survive is if I develop the X gene
And thrive off the radiation.
and somehow, have lasers from my eyes or some. No, not that there'd be a world left to save. I'd be like, oh, these powers would have been good when there was a world to save, and I'd have been famous and had fanny thrown at me.
You'd have ended up like Homelander, and we know it.
Eventually. Not straight away.
The thing is, this could happen at any point, and we could be a target.
We've got an army base not that far away.
Right now, there could be a nuclear missile en route.
Yeah.
We wouldn't know about it.
It's about 25-30 minutes from Russia to America, so we're probably looking at about 12-15.
Well, I'd like to think we've got the tech to shoot
You might
them
get the
down
4
as
minute
well.
warning.
Do you think we've got the tech to shoot them down?
Don't tell me we haven't got anything.
Would you like to have a guess how many interceptor missiles the Americans have got?
I don't know.
None.
No, there's more. There is.
Oh,
There's
right,
some.
okay.
Bear in mind, a first strike is 1,000 missiles, the mother load.
Oh, 20,
More.
50.
44.
Is that it?
And they only work 50 to 60% of the time.
99% of the time.
There's 40 in Alaska and there's 4 on the west coast.
60% of the time they work every time.
But yeah, they work about 50 to, because you're trying to hit something that's coming in at Mach 30 with what's a bullet, basically. It's a bullet. It's not explosive. It's a bullet on a missile.
And we're just left to rot, really.
Oh, we have got that sweet ass laser thing, but that's not going to work. But it might do in a bit.
Can't we have an
We're
Iron
expendable,
Dome?
mate.
No, the Iron like I say, it's impossible to shoot these things down. They're coming in at Mach 30. With current tech, you can't do it.
Fucking hell. Remember in Superman 4 where he rounds them all up and chucks them into the sun? I'd love it if that happened. We'd just build some more.
Even Dr. Manhattan can't stop the full range of nuclear attacks, they said. But there, he's like, it's 100 million on one side, that's not everybody. It's alright. Never mind the fallout and the land.
Jesus.
So meanwhile, in ways both small and large, US behaviour towards the Soviets took on a harsher edge. Even the Soviet ambassador Anatoly Dobrin lost his reserved parking pass at the State Department. US troops swooped into tiny Grenada to defeat communism in Operation Urgent Fury. Oh, that's mad as fuck, innit?
That was a disgrace what they did there, wasn't it?
There was a British territory as well. We fucking own that, technically.
Who were they fighting?
There's a communist uprising.
They wanted to get rid of the government, didn't they? Didn't like them. Wanted a more US-friendly government that would let them...
So they went and installed one.
Yep.
Just like they did in Panama later on.
Just like they did in El Salvador,
In Iraq.
Honduras, Venezuela,
They tried to do in
Iran.
Afghanistan.
Libya.
I want to get a T-shirt that says like
Somalia.
CIA World Coup Champions, like 3 for 3 or something like that.
Cooing all over the world.
Peru, Argentina.
Like it, I like it.
What? I bet they sing that at CIA karaoke nights. They must have them.
They love it. You know, they topple a government, install a new one, and they go and get shit-faced in some bar somewhere, singing fucking Creedence Clearwater.
Fortunate son.
Yeah, you know they do.
So, the strategy worked. Moscow soon believed the new US leadership was ready to fight a nuclear war. And the Soviets also became convinced the US was now willing to start a nuclear war. The policy of the Reagan administration has to be seen as adventurous and serving the goal of world domination, Soviet Marshal Nikolai Agarkov told a gathering of the Warsaw Pact chiefs of staff in September '82. The Warsaw Pact was their version of NATO.
Right.
So you had Russia, every country they'd swallowed up were given some autonomy to.
Right.
It's like, you're in the Warsaw Pact now, boys. No, you don't have a say. Just come and sign the fucking thing.
Yeah.
Sign the thing, do as you're told.
Yep.
Do you know that Russia wanted to join NATO on numerous occasions?
And it was talked about.
Yeah.
And then the Russians pulled out.
The Americans said no.
The Russians pulled out.
Oh yeah, different.
I ain't no fortunate son.
A few months later, Reagan made one of the most provocative moves of the Cold War. He announced the US was going to develop a shield of lasers and nuclear weapons in space to defend against Soviet warheads. He called it missile defense, and critics mocked it as Star Wars. Yeah.
Metal.
You can't put nukes in space, though, is a rule, apparently.
Oh. Who makes the rules?
It's all like that Geneva Convention stuff. Because if you detonated a nuke above America in the atmosphere, then America's entire electronics infrastructure's gone. The EMP blast. Unless it's been specifically hardened against it, and still no one's quite sure if it'll work.
Well, plus the Earth is spinning and moving.
Yeah.
It might not get America.
No, it would be detonated precisely.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but what if an asteroid hit it and set it off?
Well, that's another option.
Yeah.
Or just a piece of space trash?
Yeah, plenty up there.
There's loads of shit circling around up there.
Yeah, because it'd be circling around armed and ready to go, wouldn't it?
Nukes in Space is the name of my new album. Nukes in Space.
It should be the new Solar Warden album, really. Nukes in Space.
Would you a new album?
We are.
Right,
man,
guys.
there you go. Well, we've got the title track.
To Moscow, though, this wasn't Star Wars, it was the Death Star. And it confirmed the US was planning an attack. It would be impossible for the system to stop thousands of incoming Soviet missiles at once, so missile defence only made sense as a way of mopping up after an initial US strike. Use it or lose it.
Yeah.
Is what it boils down to. Use it or lose it.
Yeah.
But if you got this thing that can knock them out the sky, lasers in space, you can attack because you're defended.
Whatever's coming back at you is
Yeah.
not going to be 1,000 missiles because you've taken their missiles out in your first wave.
Well,
So the Star Wars program would nullify the long-standing doctrine of mutually assured destruction, the principle that neither side will even start a nuclear war because you can't survive the counterattack.
Yeah.
But if you can, whoa,
Well, you're back to mad again, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're back to stalemate. Because now the Americans, they fire, even if they've got the space lasers, they ain't going to take them all out because they've got this doomsday device.
that's it. It nullifies it, doesn't it? It re-establishes the balance of deterrence.
Yeah.
So it's actually quite a good thing
yeah.
in some respects.
Well,
Even-
nobody's nuked anyone yet, have they?
No.
I mean, obviously, we don't want nukes, and they're fucking. I mean, it's just a disaster waiting to happen, I think, but.
Oh, the guy from the Secretary General of the UN recently said we're one misunderstanding, one misstep away from a nuclear war.
Oh, God, that's the last. I hope I can go my whole life without seeing one of them.
Yeah, it would be
God,
nice.
Even if it's like completely on the other side of the world, it's, you know.
I'm at the moment, I'm half expecting to see it. I look at the news every morning just to see if it's happened. Sometimes, like, what's Iran up to?
Do you think
That's all
Iran
coming
will-
to kick off.
Do you think they might nuke Israel?
I don't. Well, they can't nuke them, they allegedly, but they can do a dirty bomb. And that would certainly provoke the Israelis into replying with a
They've
nuclear
got
strike.
a nuke, haven't they?
They've got nukes. They won't admit it, but they have.
Probably lovely American nukes.
Probably homegrown. Remember, a lot of the physicists who worked on the Manhattan Project were Jewish, weren't they? Einstein for a start.
Iran are working on getting them now, aren't they?
They've been trying for years, yeah. They haven't got one yet. Because every time they get a reactor, the Israelis bomb it.
India and Pakistan, and
India,
tensions
Pakistan.
aren't great between them.
Yeah, they're always...
Yeah, always bickering, aren't they?
Then you got China,
Yeah.
North Korea. And that's the problem is, none of the other countries, or probably China wouldn't launch a first strike with 300 missiles. You know, they're just going to get wiped
Well, why
off the map.
wouldn't
Because the Americans just hit them back with 1,000.
Well, like our
they?
dear...
Well, it
but-
goes back to mad again, doesn't
It
it?
goes back to mad. But what's dangerous is what's called the Mad King scenario, where you end up with a North Korea and a lunatic in charge. Who's like, you know what?
Fuck it.
Fuck it. I'll survive.
Yeah.
Apparently North Korea's got one of the most complex subterranean bunker systems known to man. They've been working on this shit for years, digging out tunnels, bunkers, stocking them. Enough to get a chunk of the population down there.
They care more about our population than our fucking government do.
Well, because they never actually finished war with America, did they? Technically, America and North Korea are still at war. They never signed a peace treaty at the end of the Korean War. So they're convinced they're still at war. They're just waiting for the Americans to do it.
They have been, haven't they?
And one day they're going to go, you
70
know what,
years.
fuck it, we'll get the first strike in, we'll nuke Washington.
We'll try. It'll probably come back down and land on their heads.
Some defence analysts think they can launch ones from their submarines now.
But yeah. Mind
So-
you, they make good, reliable cars, so the
The
submarines...
South Koreans, guys.
Yeah,
the South
sorry,
Koreans.
Sorry.
They're
I've
still
got to
using-
remember I'm not
They're
driving
still
a
using
car
oxen in North Korea, mate.
Well, just over the border, they make very reliable automobiles. And very cheap as well.
Only because they're rebadged Japanese cars.
Are they?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
They're very
He's
reliable.
like, here's a design for this, like, 'cause yours is a Kia, what, sorry guys?
A Picanto.
Picanto. That's probably just a Toyota Yaris that they've just made and rebadged.
But it was
But it's a
put
reliable
together,
car.
It was put together by Korean hands
Yeah?
under the Korean sun.
Your mum's got a Kia, it's lasted her ages, it's a good little car.
That's it. So, you know, I said I'm very proud to drive around with my little Kim Jong-un
It's
bobblehead.
not a Kim, it's the wrong one.
I might get a bumper sticker of him on the back.
I can't really hate the guy because, you know, he's a massive cheese fan.
Well, never mind the genocide. He loves a
likes
bit
cheese.
of cheese.
He loves a bit of brie.
Oh, I'd love to sit down and share a cheese board with Kim Jong-un.
Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you, though? I'd love to meet him up and, you
What
know.
am I going to ask him?
So, what's with these nukes then, Kim?
Big fan of
Can't come out with
camembert.
that, can you? You're going to start with small talk first, like, who did your hair?
What type of
Everyone's got the same haircut.
what type of cracker would you like? With the cheese?
Would you prefer a cracker?
Or a digestive biscuit? That could be nice with a bit of cheese.
Ooh, yeah.
You know.
You know, what's cheese connoisseurs stick together?
So how many people do you think you've killed?
Did they eat their children in the 90s? Can you tell me?
Have you ever killed anyone yourself personally with a gun or your bare hands?
This camembert's delicious.
Oh, really? Delicious.
How about the gorgonzola on a cracker next? How about you, Kim?
So how many deaths do you think you've ordered? Which did you prefer? Do you prefer to order them or do them yourself? No judgment.
It would be
Cup
good,
of
though,
tea,
wouldn't it?
Kim.
Doing a cheese board and give you...
I'd rather have it with somebody like who's not I don't know, like a I don't know, famous band
Bruce
person.
Dickinson.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I'd rather that than Kim Jong.
Yeah, but it'd still be interesting, though, wouldn't it?
It'd be awkward as fuck.
Yeah, but what do you know about Kim Jong-un? Very little, apart from the fact he's a cheese connoisseur and he has lots of people killed.
That's what.
You know everything about Bruce, he'd be tired of, oh yeah, I'm a fencer, yeah, I'm a pilot too, yeah.
Well, no, I don't. I'm just saying, I don't fancy sharing a cheese board with Kim Jong Un.
It's not on my bucket list,
Yeah.
let's put it that way.
Well,
It may be interesting in a way, but I also think it'd be incredibly awkward. Will he understand my accent? Will I understand his?
You'd have to have an interpreter, wouldn't you?
Oh God, it'd take forever.
Just
Get
say-
Dennis Rodman to interpret.
Yeah, take him with you.
You like basketball?
You
What else
know.
do you?
Hey, I've just been talking to Dennis. Kim would be like a gooseberry to get left out and order my murder.
He took Dennis Rodman away from me.
Oh dear.
Well, alright, back to the death thing.
Oh yeah, sorry.
So we now know that Reagan was not planning a first strike. According to his private diaries and personal letters, he genuinely believed he was bringing about lasting peace. He once told Gorbachev he might be a reincarnation of the human who invented the first shield. I assume that's when the Alzheimer's was kicking in. You know, I'm a reincarnation of the person who invented the shield.
And how can talking shit and getting about Russia and trying to, provoke them, how is that meant to bring about lasting peace?
It worked.
In a funny way.
Actually, you can't argue with the result.
It worked. No one knew. Nobody.
Yeah, but now we have
no, I
this
didn't.
fucking doomsday device, that's the
You know,
problem.
It didn't.
That's true.
It worked at the time,
Mm.
but you just... And yes, the Star Wars program was partially responsible for pushing the USSR over the edge because they knew they couldn't keep up with the money, the technology.
Just for
people
that
had
know,
enough.
They didn't build it in the end, did they? It was scrapped.
They tried to, but it didn't
Yeah.
really work. You know, but it pushed the Soviets over the edge, and you ended up with then a democracy. But look where that's taken them.
But I know my knowledge of
It's not a democracy, it's an oligarchy.
Hey, he said the thing.
my knowledge of history is not very good. It's shit, in fact. But after the Soviet Union, some little countries,
It all broke apart.
yeah, and some of those little countries are probably doing okay, aren't they?
Poland's doing pretty
I was
well.
going to say Poland is.
They're doing better than they were, I think.
Mm,
Estonia, Lithuania.
so it wasn't dog shit for everyone.
No.
But like you say, there was a period of. That's why I brought up that Iron Maiden thing earlier, because it was right after when they were the first people to allowed in, and it was just a lot of poverty and
Yeah.
control and like, yeah.
Must have been fucking horrible to live under. What a
yeah.
fucking system.
Curfew every night.
All built on fear.
Yeah.
You couldn't say what you really thought because someone's going to dob you into the fucking
Yep.
Stasi or
Yeah.
whatever.
Imagine the social gatherings, and to be fair, like tonight, I think like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock curfew. If you don't make it back by then, you're sleeping here.
Yeah.
That's it, you go back in
And
the
plus,
morning.
you know that if we've got, we wouldn't be able to have this podcast.
No, we wouldn't be. The thing is, and we're sat there.
No chance.
Do you hear what? The chap's done in charge? He's done this. What a fucking stupid prat. I don't know if one of you two was going to go off and
Yeah.
Well, we
press on
wouldn't
them.
come back next time. We'd disappear.
Yeah.
You'd be
Yeah.
disappeared.
Yeah, that's it.
Disappear at lunchtime.
Never to be seen again.
Bag on the head.
Get used to it, because if you tweet anything nasty about the government, Keir Starmer's going to have
When
you
the s-
bagged and.
When the Stormtroopers are roaming
Oh, the stormtroopers.
That's a good one. Oh yes, careful what you tweet.
Oh, we've got to be careful here. Love you, Keir. My glorious leader. Bringing stability and justice to his new empire.
Oh, so much stability. A real sense of togetherness out there, isn't there?
Yeah. Well, but you just going about your business, going to the shops and whatever, there is.
I suppose. Just stay out.
It's when you're on opposing lines in a street, shouting insults at each other, that's when there isn't. But you just go into the shop, you go and get a kebab on the way home, you speak to the Turkish bloke behind the counter.
But if you happen to go into a shop that's near a protest, Ben, you might get 4 years in prison.
That's the valid point.
So just stay in the house. This is what I say. Get a PlayStation and stay in the house.
It's worked for me. It's worked for you.
Stay in and have a wank.
Yeah.
Safer.
Much safer. No one's going to set the dogs on you.
I did watch that bloke get his ass bitten by a police dog. I found it quite funny. Dog putters were well happy with that. Like, hey, did my job. Where's my treat? So back to this a second. The system Reagan insisted was purely defensive, but as the Soviets know, if the Americans are mobilising an attack, that's exactly what you'd expect them to say. And according to Cold War logic, if you think the other side is about to launch, you should do one of two things. Launch first and convince the enemy you can strike back, even if you're dead. And Perimeter ensures that ability to strike back. It's no hair-trigger device. It was designed to lie semi-dormant until switched on by a high official in a crisis. Then it would begin monitoring a network of seismic, radiation and air pressure sensors for signs of nuclear explosions before launching any retaliatory strike.
So, say there was another Chernobyl.
Yeah, it wouldn't be on.
It wouldn't be on.
Well, if it was a Chernobyl the same time as
Yeah.
heightened nuclear tensions,
Could be mistaken, couldn't
it
it?
could get mistaken, you're right.
Oh, look, imagine working there at a power plant. First of all, there's a big leak, so you're fucked. And then your own country's defence systems just launch a load of nuclear missiles at you.
All you see is the
Wouldn't be
missiles.
here, we'd be going to America, but...
All you see is them
Wouldn't it go to
arching
the
up
site
into the
of the
sky.
where it's coming from?
No, you don't
No,
keep
go on
nuclear
about-
missiles near nuclear power
No,
stations.
but the scenario I'm saying is if they're targeted to. Oh no, because they wouldn't. Yeah, no, I'm being.
Yeah, it'd
thick.
be on Russian soil, wouldn't
I'm
it?
misunderstanding
Yeah.
how it works.
You know the end
But
of
what would
Terminator
happen
3?
is you would probably cause nuclear winter and the extinction of life on Earth. And all because you had a bit of a meltdown in the... Oh, fuck.
You know Terminator 3 where you see the silo, there's the farmers in the fields and the silos open up and the missiles start arching out
Oh yes.
as Skynet launches.
Beautiful.
That would be it.
Well, we won't be in a bunker with a Terminator, will we?
No.
It'll be us three and a cat in that cupboard if it went off now.
Yeah.
We'll be in there for 2 weeks.
And then we'll...
If we hadn't fucking killed each other because we've gone insane, then...
Everybody we know is dead.
Yeah. When we
Well, it's
do
not
get
even
out,
that, it's like my snoring would piss you guys off after a couple of nights.
Sleeping.
You're snoring and farting in there. Jesus Christ. Like, to be
I'll
fair,
just take my chances
Yeah.
with the radiation.
Yeah. What, you want your insides to liquefy?
Fuck it. It's better than
No, because you can't open that door or we're all dead.
It's
Yeah.
better than being in a cupboard with your farts. You better hold them in then. And show some
You
consideration.
can't open that door. Yeah, but we're all going to have to shit in there.
Oh God.
all shitting in the same bucket.
Oh God. No, I'll just let it kill me. You can shut the door, guys. I won't open it.
I've got enough food and water. We'll survive.
I've got no tinned food at the moment. That's what I say. I just,
You're meant to have 30 days.
I just pray for death.
That's what the Secretary of the UN said, didn't he? When the Russian-Ukraine conflict started. 30 days of food, water, batteries, candles, that sort of thing.
Wow. Or a bug out bag. If you can make
How
it
many
that
people
far.
have got that?
I know, yeah.
We'll all be down at the local fucking Tesco.
Looting
brawling,
Tesco.
brawling with each other in mass uncivil
Yeah.
civil unrest.
Fractured someone's skull for this bottle of fucking Pepsi.
I'm taking the booze. Are you?
It's whatever's left.
Yeah.
Literally anything. You'll drink a bottle of mayonnaise. That's the only liquid left.
Has anyone got a leather belt? We might have eaten that at some point.
No, I know what I'm doing with a leather belt if I find one of them. Really fuck with him.
Automatic asphyxiation.
No, I'm cutting out the wank bed and going straight to the hanging myself.
You might as well do the wank.
No. No point. The skin of my cock will come off in my hand anyway.
It'll slough off.
Oh, God. Jesus. This was just, please, I just beg the initial blast takes me out.
Well, it did have, like, there wasn't just we've had a Chernobyl. Although I do get where you're coming from.
You have had a few Chernobyls.
It had like a number of checks. One, the system would check to see if any communications linked to the war room of the Soviet General Staff remained, and if they did, and if some amount of time passed, likely ranging from 15 minutes to an hour, without further indications of an attack, the machine would assume officials were still living who could order the counterattack and shut down. So it's like, hey, maybe.
Okay. So
Someone's got to switch it on though. What
if there's one attack, it doesn't automatically fire. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying if it's still got a communications link to the Soviet General Staff who are going to order this counter-strike, if it checks and it's still got a link, it means it hasn't been taken out. Because that will be the first on the list. So it won't launch.
Right. It's only if that communication link is severed.
Yeah, if the line to the General Staff goes dead, then perimeter would infer the apocalypse had arrived.
Fuck.
It would have
But then it could just be a telecommunication
yeah,
problem.
it could literally be like, so I'm just all that's going through my head is I know their shit is old and not looked after, and like wires and things break, communications cables, trees fall down and break things. You know what I mean? Anything could happen. And the other thing that worries me is when they said, because at first it made me feel better when they said someone's got to switch it on first, so it's not just on all the time waiting for an explosion. Someone's going to switch it on, so that means it's been off. I mean, you switch it on and nothing happens.
They must test it. Mustn't they? Every now and again.
You've had it, someone's unplugged to put the Uber in.
Oh, fuck.
The hairdryer.
Yeah. Someone rewired it years ago.
Oh, it's not that switch, it's that switch.
Fuck. Yeah, I mean, good luck to him, but let's hope it never has a reason to go off.
Well, it would immediately transfer launch authority to whoever was manning the system at that moment deep inside a protected bunker, bypassing layers and layers of normal command authority. And at that point, the ability to destroy the world would fall on whoever was on duty. Maybe a High Minister, maybe a 25-year-old junior officer fresh out of military academy.
Jesus.
Could be anyone, could be the cleaner.
Imagine
It could be Rimmer. It could be the third technician.
Oh, God. He just faints.
Yeah.
Do we fire or not?
Right, I am a fish 500 times and then passes out.
Faints. Nobody might save the world. Am I doing that?
Yeah. Well, once initiated, the counterattack will be controlled by so-called command missiles, hidden in hardened silos designed to withstand the massive blast and electromagnetic pulses of a nuclear explosion. These missiles would launch first and then radio down coded orders to whatever Soviet weapons had survived the first strike. So it launches these special missiles that fly over all the other missiles and send them a message saying, launch now at your target.
Follow me.
Follow me.
Wow. That's fancy.
Soaring over the smouldering radioactive ruins of the motherland, with all the ground communications destroyed, the command missiles would lead the destruction of the US.
Well, that's mad.
It keeps deterrence though, doesn't it? So in some ways it's good. Because it keeps that level of deterrence, which is what nuclear peace is built upon.
Yeah. But Star Wars wasn't built in the end, was it?
No, it wasn't, and this was.
But this isn't the first strike thing, is it?
No, but again, sensors malfunction.
Yeah.
Machines go wrong.
You know, what if it's let's assume that with heightened tensions with Russia, this machine is turned on right now, and then let's say that the hard line to the general staff goes down for some reason. Maybe the Ukrainians cut it. They've been infiltrating into Russia. Maybe they cut the hard line to general staff.
Somebody just literally chops it with an axe.
Yeah.
With an axe. And causes nukes.
Nobody notices.
No one notices. This thing's turned on. After an hour, the fuck are all them doing?
Oh dear.
Well, the dude's still got a check, hasn't he?
Well, yeah.
But he's in a bunker somewhere, presumably.
And he could be, like you said, fresh out the academy.
Fresh out the launch!
Spotty
The
face.
book, innit? Yeah.
Spotty face nerd doesn't want to be in trouble. Oh, what do I do? Better fire.
It's been an hour, got no communication with
Different
officials.
No one notices.
Fuck.
Launch your command missiles.
America launches the counter-strike.
Yeah, the mother load goes over both sides. Then all the thing is, it's 1,000 land-based missiles. Oh no, sorry. It's a mixture of land-based and submarine-based, isn't it? And submarine missiles, they can be anywhere.
Yeah.
It could take 6 minutes to hit Russia from a submarine, whereas it's going to take half an hour with a ballistic missile. You know, like that Thor one we saw at Cosford? That's a nuclear missile.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't that big.
It was pretty big.
That was big. Sarcastic. It was fucking massive.
Yeah.
It was obscenely big.
You know,
ludicrously big.
Yeah.
They're called the Minutemen now. You know, it goes back to it's two things. The Revolutionary War militia who were ready to go in a minute if the British attacked. Had all their stuff at home.
Yeah.
You know, go in a minute. And the fact that it takes a minute prep time to launch these things. 1 minute.
There's an old grunge band called the Minutemen. I just want to throw that out
And
there.
it was also a fantastic hit by a great British pop masters. Take that. It only takes a minute, girl. To fall in love. Fall in love.
Yeah.
Who was your favourite member of Take
I
That?
didn't have one, mate. Did you?
I was a big fan of Robbie.
Well, he was just a
He was
fat
a rebel,
dancer,
wasn't
wasn't
he?
he?
Yeah. He
was
was
a-
not just a fat dancer.
He got famous, but he was the most famous out of all of them.
Hey, I've owned several of Robbie's albums over the years.
Yeah.
I hasten to
Any
admit.
good?
Yeah, yeah,
Did he do a swing album like Sinatra, stuff like that?
he did.
Did he?
That was quite good.
That probably would be okay because he's got that kind of voice. So that probably would have worked.
I like that Kiss cover that he released. Was
One
it
of
Kiss?
one of my guilty pleasures. No, he just dressed like him in the
In
the
the video.
Let me entertain you.
That's it.
That's right.
I thought it was a Kiss cover.
No, that's an
Uh,
original. He
is
writes.
it?
If you look, he's got writing
Well, that was a
credit as
cover.
well.
I always thought that was a
Let
cover.
me entertain you. No.
Wasn't there something about the riff being a riff off a Guns N' Roses song?
That could have been it.
God knows.
Didn't they have a kick off about it?
Possibly, but no, I don't think it's a cover.
Yeah,
I could be wrong, but he definitely dresses like Kiss in the video.
he does.
Yeah. Maybe that's what I was thinking.
Oh, what about this nuclear war?
Well, I'm not for it.
No.
I support the campaign for nuclear disarmament.
You're right, he did write it.
I want Superman to round them all up. I want Apocalypse to shoot them all off into space.
Dr. Manhattan to destroy them.
Can we agree to do that? Fire them directly up into space? Nah, 'cause there's a risk they'll go off in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bugger.
Can't be having that.
But what if the aliens turn up and we need them? You need to fire them into space at something, at that mothership that's coming.
We'll have to take the risk, won't we? Reinforce the tip.
But you got to keep them then.
Where is the bomb? Is it at the bottom or the top or the
Top.
middle? Top. Reinforce the top so it can survive the atmosphere. I'm sure we will invent ground to space nukes.
Oh yeah, we can
At
do
some
that.
point.
Yeah.
We can do that.
Do it
That's
now.
not a problem.
Yeah.
We can do it now. But my point
Well,
is,
won't we launch them
what if
from
we
space
get rid of
stations?
them? No, we can't have nukes in space. What if we get rid of them
We'll change
and then the
it up.
aliens turn up?
Well, we won't, will we? Because the Space Force is going to have nuclear powered things, isn't it?
Well, they'd be the only ones
Space
that could have
Force will
them.
protect us.
Solar Warden.
Well, what are they for if they're not?
Yeah.
You know, we can't deny it's a real thing. We've seen the recruitment drives.
Yeah.
It's Space Force is a real thing.
That goes back to Solar Warden, doesn't it?
What the fuck are they? What do they know that we don't? What do we do? Space Force?
Gary McKinnon.
Well, they claim it's for what is it technically? It's space. It's about like destroying satellites and things like that. Are our satellites being targeted and tracking debris and things like that?
Is it fuck for that?
Well, what is it then?
What are they scared that Iran's going to send an army into space?
Fight that war on Mars against insects.
Oh, I'm a big believer in what Randy Craner says. So Captain Keyes says that he did spend 30 years on Mars garrotting insectoids.
What a guy!
What a guy!
What a guy.
Captain America in space. Yeah.
Well,
Check out our episode on that.
I, for one, think this doomsday device is an awful idea. I think any doomsday device is an awful idea. But I suppose if I was a Russian, I would say it's a rather lovely idea.
It's very Doctor Strangelove, isn't it?
But you'd be more likely to be dead. So it's like, okay, I'm dead, but do I really want to take the rest of the world with me?
Fuck it.
It's like when you give
Who's going to
somebody-
remember?
It's like when you give somebody a superplex off the top rope. You know it's going to hurt you. And it's really going to hurt them, but it's definitely going to hurt you too.
Yeah.
Both taking that for. That's my wrestling analogy.
Totally.
It's the most depressing thing on earth, and just thought of nuclear war and the fact that it's not sci-fi. It's like, you know,
It could happen at any
yeah,
second.
we've got these things, and you know, I don't want my cock skin sloughing off in my hands. I'm trying to do one last desperate apocalypto wank.
Oh no.
Oh God.
It's come off in my hand.
At least if you're all soggy, and you wouldn't take much effort to just smash your own head against a wall, just pop like a coke.
I don't think you're capable of that kind of movement, to be fair.
If you just fell against it.
I mean, all
like a balloon.
the linings between your organs is gone. It's all your organs are melting into one another. You're decaying while you're alive from the inside out.
Well, I know that feeling.
Yeah. What's new?
Physically, not spiritually.
You know.
Well, I'm physically, yeah.
I've been
Falling
decaying.
apart, mate.
So,
Wrong side of 40 now.
Oh, come on. We know people
It's all downhill for
who
me.
are our age who are in a lot worse condition than we are.
this is
Yeah,
true.
dead.
No, we've got like real serious health issues,
No,
and
I know.
we're fine. We're healthy.
Touch wood.
We'll cope.
You know, you might have a gammy knee or a bit of a sore back, but it's not like arthritis.
You know.
You know, we're that age now where we.
It's downhill for me, though, isn't it?
Only if you let it. I'm not going to let the
If
old
you
man.
let it.
I'm going to do a
Fight
Clint.
it.
I'm Clint Eastwood in this. I'm not letting the old man in.
Don't let the old man in.
I'm not letting him in.
Well-
I'm going to be walking around in band t-shirts and stupid ass.
You won't be walking because your legs have
Oh, fine. I'll be Zimmer. I'll be on my mobility
got
scooter.
rickets.
Well,
I'll still be dressed in a t-shirt and jeans. That's it.
my
You'll
final.
Shorts as
You'll be
much
able
as
to dress
possible.
yourself. You'll be a drooling vegetable.
And someone can dress me and take me out. I ain't letting the old man in. Blow that fucking marijuana smoke into my oxygen mask and put a drip fucking can of Carlin on the drip.
That's it.
Put a film on I like to watch and let me sit here and veg.
I was thinking, you know, old people's homes are going to be a lot different in sort of 40 years, aren't they? When
Yeah.
it's us lot in them. Everyone's covered in tattoos and they'll be like, oh, Sarah, or whatever, come and meet me on the veranda. Let's listen to some Skrillex and smoke a little joint. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's something I'm definitely going to do in retirement is become a major pothead.
What do you mean become?
I'm not a major pothead.
Well, my thought on the Doomsday device, I will leave you with a lyric by the completely non-racist Morrissey.
Cash your holding your right arm up in the air at an angle.
He's non-racist. If it's not love, then it's the bomb that will bring us together. So we can either love our way through this or just wait till the bomb destroys most of us, and the few that are left will realise maybe nukes aren't that good of an idea. So, see what happens.
I think that's a perfect way to end that.
Mm.
Yeah, well, I've been Ben.
It's been another dark episode, hasn't it?
Light and fluffies are fucking business, isn't it?
Bloody hell.
I'm so uplifted.
I've been Ben. You know, do as that will, but remember that love is the law. And we're all stardust.
I've been Mike, thanks for listening. Peace out, may the force be with you.
Guys, free Biff Tannen. Bye.